Hello, Robinson Rams. It's Mr. Burns here, and we're going to talk today about the second set of vocabulary from Unit 2, Political Process. And this is going to cover the second half of the unit. So we're going to look at things like the Electoral College and gerrymandering. We're going to look at the role of the media in the political process, as well as campaign finance spending here in this section. There's 14 words, so it's a little bit shorter than the last section. And just like the last vocab set, you're going to open up the Google Slides presentation that I shared with you. The definitions are already filled in. You're going to have to create your own synonym or a word to help you remember it, or phrase. You're going to have to create like an example or a sentence using the word accurately. It's probably easier to do an example, but you can also write it in a sentence. And then the images, you're gonna drag and drop the correct one. There's either 3 or 4 on each slide that matches the word. They're different from the ones in this presentation, but similar enough. And then make sure you submit it by the day of the quiz that will be posted to Schoology. And you'll see that on the right column of Schoology once this assignment goes live. All right, so the first word you're going to see are electors. In the first section, we're going to talk about the Electoral College. And electors are the people that are appointed by their political parties. They're actually voted on and approved by voters. But they are officially the one who casts the vote for the presidential election. So we'll talk about the winner-take-all system in the future in a couple of minutes. But basically, these are the people, after the state has chosen its candidate based on popular vote, the candidates from that party, the electors from that party, cast the official vote for president for their state. Okay, so the electors are important. The incumbent is the current person holding office. The person, and they might be seeking re-election. Glenn Youngkin, for example, he is the incumbent governor of Virginia. Joe Biden is the incumbent president of the United States. The third word is popular vote. This is basically the number of votes that are counted in an election. And to win the popular vote, you need to get the most votes out of the total. It doesn't have to be a majority. It doesn't have to be over 50%. If there's 3 or 4 candidates running, if there's a couple third-party candidates, as long as you get the most, you win. We have a two-party system in the United States. There are Democrats and Republicans. There are third parties, but they are not considered the two major parties. We are considered a two-party system. This is going to be because of the Electoral College that we'll talk about. You need 270 out of 538 electoral votes to win and become president, and that over time has developed us into a two-party system. It's very difficult for a third party to win an election. They do have a role, but it's very difficult to win an election. All right. So the winner take all, just like in a poker tournament, like this guy who won all that money, which we would all love to do one day. You can see what happens here. Virginia has 13 electoral votes. People go to vote on election day in the presidential election every 4 years. If Virginia goes with like it did in 2020, where more people voted for Joe Biden than Donald Trump, therefore, Joe Biden gets all 13 electoral votes because he won the popular vote in Virginia. And that happens in all the different states. And those numbers add up, that 13 in Virginia, that 40 in Texas, that 3 in North Dakota, the 30 in Florida, etc. Those all add up for both candidates. And whoever gets the 270 first wins. That's why we have a two-party system, because if we had 3 parties, getting to 270 would be very difficult because 3 parties would be winning votes and neither candidate, none of the 3 or 4 or more would get 270. And that's why we've developed into a two-party system, because of this Electoral College. We're going to do a lesson, a kind of a fun lesson, extension lesson on gerrymandering this unit. And it's basically every 10 years they do a census. That's where we count how many people live in each area, in each state, in each county, and so on, each town. And then they redo the district lines to make sure that the population is approximately equal. But the party that gets to do that is the party that's in control of the state government. So if it's the Republicans, they would get to do it. Democrats, they would get to do it. And then they redraw the lines so that it kind of favors their party a little bit, right? Because as long as the populations are equal, but they might pack one district with a lot of Democrats so that more districts have more Republicans or vice versa. They might also crack a district that is very one-party heavy to split them up. So it's interesting, the data. They should do what's on the left on this picture. They usually do what's on the right. even though those populations would be equal. You can see District D would go yellow, but A, B, and C would all go red. So the red party would have the advantage in that party too. All right, number 9 is bias. Bias is one-sided or unfair prejudice by the media. And you're going to see that most media outlets have a biased viewpoint. There's very few that can be truly politically neutral. That's true about people too. It's true about reporters. There's a lot of different biases there. Editorial is the next word, and when we think of an editorial, you see the word editor in there as a root word, and it's kind of where the editor or someone in the newspaper or the newspaper itself, the newspaper company, they're stating an opinion. They're writing an article that has an opinion in there. That's an editorial. All right, endorse is a very important word that you'll see on your quiz or assessment. It's a good word that describes politics, right? Where one, here you can see Oprah Winfrey in the middle, standing with Michelle and Barack Obama. And he's got his campaign slogan there, change we can believe in. And you can see she is endorsing them. She's a public figure. She's someone who's not really heavily involved in politics, Oprah Winfrey, but she's got a big following, and she's very influential. And when she says, I support President Barack Obama for re-election, that's going to really influence the people that are her viewers. And if she supports them, then I will support them, kind of thing. So that's endorsing, where you give a public statement supporting someone. All right, propaganda is the next word, and you've probably seen this propaganda poster several times. It's an advertisement. You're promoting an issue. You're trying to influence. You're trying. It doesn't usually involve bias, but you're really trying to influence people for a particular stance on an issue in politics, or it could be in war, or it could be many different things. Businesses trying to advertise their product. They're really trying to get you to either support what they believe or go against what the opponent believes. All right, last page on your slides is lobbying. And you guys lobby all the time as teenagers. You lobby your parents for extra phone time or extra time out with your friends. It's trying to influence, and lobbyists in our government try to influence lawmakers to support a bill or to vote against a bill. And the companies often pay these lobbyists to do this on their behalf. An interest group is a group of people. Mothers Against Destructive Decisions, for example, is an interest group. And they want you to get a viewpoint. Their job is, they're kind of in the lobbying field. They are searching to promote their beliefs and get people to, and lawmakers to vote on their side of their issue, whatever that issue might be. Interest group, special interest group, you might see written as. Political action committee is a little different. They're more about raising money to give to candidates, and they give that money directly to candidates to support their campaigns because they want a certain candidate elected who will then hopefully vote in favor of their political stance on different issues. And it's usually organized by a business, like a corporation, or it could be a labor union. It could be a special interest group as well, or several. Then you have super PACs, and this is a Supreme Court case we're going to talk about later this year, Citizens United versus Federal Election Committee. And a super PAC is like where a bunch of the PACs get together and kind of put their resources together, their money that they've raised together, but they can't give it directly to a person or directly to a candidate. They have to basically do things independently. They would make a commercial or an advertisement without connection to that candidate. They would just do it on their behalf. That's a super PAC. If they are not allowed to give money directly to campaigns. They have to do it kind of just independently on their own. All right, go back to slide 2. Just remember the directions. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. And make sure you finish this by the day of your quiz. Thank you so much.